The following Film Room episode is brought to you by NFL Game Pass. Make sure to get to gamepass.nfl.com/packages to get the complimentary access to Game Pass. It's free to everyone until May 31st, 2020. A lot of what we do on a daily basis as far as content creation is a lot of it comes from NFL Game Pass. So make sure to support them. Go ahead and take a look at it. Dive into some of the NFL originals, the film sessions. Obviously, you can go watch the coaching film, which is something that we use a lot. And you guys know about the coaches film. During the season, we use it a ton. But go ahead and play around with it for the next month or so. So get to gamepass.nfl.com and subscribe for the season. I don't know if you guys remember, like the first drive, right? The Giants just they came right down there and ran the ball down our throats and scored, didn't they?
Yeah, in like 5 plays, right?
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, and they did a lot of this, right? I mean, they had 2-3 tight ends here, ran a lot of downhill football, and actually started pretty good on that play right here. He's taking on the double and then splitting it, but he's just not able to make the tackle. And that's the thing with him. Like, he got into the backfield a little bit last year, but he was just missing tackles at the point of attack. And it's like, come on, man. Like, if you're right there, if you're within range to make that tackle, make the tackle. I mean, get these Bills fans off our backs.
Is it just something with athleticism? You can't make the gap?
I mean, like you saw on that play, he was right there. He just missed the tackle. I mean, yeah. I don't think that's really tied to athleticism. It's almost just like, I don't know if you could say it's just want or willingness to, or just play speed. Maybe the guy just, the running back on that last play accelerated away from him. I get that, but
absolutely.
This one, they just get off on the perimeter. This is what's hard about these jet sweeps, because, I mean, they're not even blocking. They're not even blocking Murphy right here. And, they're able to get along the edge. And that's not necessarily Murphy's fault. The guy's running full speed already. I mean, that's really hard to, ask this guy to kind of play down the line of scrimmage for the run if it's going this way, but also have to, go back this way. So it's definitely hard to do. And there aren't many defensive ends that make the tackle on these jet sweeps either. So, I mean, that was just a good start by them. Oh, this is the other thing. So watch this movement. So you got the shift right here, the motion coming across, and Poyer obviously, he goes with him. But I want you to watch as the ball is snapped and the guy comes across the formation. Here's the ball carrier, right? But watch what happens between Neal here and Levi Wallace here. They eventually switch here. So watch what happens on the snap. Now Neal has to get all the way across this formation to chase that jet sweep, and he does. Watch this. Watch from the beginning. I forgot about this play. Yeah, Neal was on the horse here. Works through traffic right there. You see him work through that block.
Wow.
And then he's the one that gets him at the sideline. I mean, that's good hustle by Neal.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible.
Was that a lineman?
That came out. Yeah, he got to that. I think that was the right tackle that bypassed Murphy to climb. So here's this, looks like a crack toss to the top of the screen. Really nice block on Jerry Hughes. I think the Bills were in base defense here, so let's take a look. I screwed it up. I think if I press forward too fast, it jumps to the beginning again, so bear with me. So yeah, it looks like Bills were in base, and Alexander was working through a combo block here. Or a down block. So here's Zoe. He gets pinned by the wide receiver right there. So now you got the perimeter. Really nice down block on Edmonds. A nice little alley. That's a play the Bills ran pretty well last year too, getting that ball on the perimeter. So they got a first down now. It looks like they're still in 12 personnel, and the Bills went to their big nickel. This is Marlowe to the top of the screen. This is when Taron Johnson was out, right, guys? Wasn't Taron out? And that's when Neil was the nickel, and then Marlowe was the big nickel. I believe so. Let's see here. So yeah, so you can tell with where Hughes is. So they align the strength to this side of the field. You see him kind of in a 6-eye just inside the tight end here, and it looks like Eli checks it because he sees that there is a nice little bubble right there. You see him hit it right up in here. And I mean, Oliver, you can see his technique on this play is not that good on the combo block. Now what he should be doing is, you see this right tackle coming to block him, he should be dropping this near knee down to the turf to anchor as best he can. He doesn't. He gets washed down a little bit, and that's where the little crease is between him and I think it's Edmonds up the middle there. So they were keeping the Bills defense off balance, obviously running some different plays along the perimeter, trying to get them outside, and then they just started gutting them up the middle there. And this is where they score here. I think they caught the Bills in, I think they were in their nickel defense. Let's take a look at it from a tight camera angle. So this is just a duo. So it looks like they have 11 personnel. The one tight end's right here. I think these are all receivers out here. Now watch what happens on a snap. This looks to be man coverage. You can see Poyer, eyes are on the tight end. Neil, eyes are on his receiver right here. And everyone's up at the line of scrimmage on the snap. So now everyone's got to shoot their gaps, right? You know, this is where their gaps are. But the problem is Neil, who's right here, it almost looks like he chases his guy as if it's man coverage, you know, like he's going to go across the middle. He gets washed out. And by the time he realizes, oh, it's a run, it's a little late, and he gets walled off. And this is where Tre'Davious misses this tackle here. Let me rewind it a little bit because he comes downhill really well, but he just loses his footing. And we're going to see a few plays later, or a couple of drives later, they run the same exact play, and Trey White doesn't miss this tackle. But this is just too easy, and Barkley's just too fast. So yeah, they came out and punched the Bills defense in the mouth right here. So here's the next drive. Looks like 11 personnel. Bills stack the box, expecting run, and this run is just ridiculous. Well, look at this from the tight camera angle. I don't know how Barkley maneuvers inside here. So you got the shift right here. So the Bills are expecting run. They got Hyde down there in the box, and they're running a little gap scheme. So you're gonna have the puller picking up Lawson right here. And then I think it's the Y or the tight end coming and picking up Edmonds right there. But you see there's some really good disruption from Hyde. He reads it, right? He shoots that gap. And he blows it up. But the vision of Barkley right here, what does he do? He just cuts it here and then cuts it back up inside. Look at that move. Just maneuvering through traffic. I mean, that is just filthy. Watch it from the top. Tight cornering by Barkley there. Really nice run. So Bills are, I think they're in their big nickel. I think this is Marlowe right here. And now this play, if I remember correctly, should have been a bigger play, I think. It's not bad coverage, but you see Marlowe is in trail. I think this is a really good matchup in their favor and probably should have been caught by Ingram there. I mean, Ingram versus Marlowe, you'll take that matchup pretty much any day of the week. So it looks like the Bills are slanting their defensive line right there. And they're even bringing almost like a green dog blitz and an insert blitz because Poyer rushes because that tight end stayed in, right? And then it looks like Edmonds may be rushing as well, but I think that's basically because there's no one for him to cover. But look at this matchup over the middle here. Good right here. We're good shape right there. He gets a little separation, and the ball is not bad. It's a little high, but I think that should have been caught by Ingram. And maybe, you know, some of the pressure by the Bills here made Eli, you know, throw it a little hot, because you can tell, I mean, especially for Eli's velocity, he throws it pretty fast here. But I still think that should have been caught. And if anything, if he leads him out in front, I think Ingram has a little more separation and probably is able to break free from Arlo.
Do you think he was expecting them to start turning it upfield?
No, just based on the route there, you see him press upfield, he run, and then right here you see him going across. I don't think he was expecting him to press upfield. Now you can make the argument that, you know, maybe the route should have been deeper. I mean, that stuff, that's not stuff that we would know, but I think this was just a play that, you know, got a little away from Eli and got away from the receiver, tight end there, because he should have been caught. That should have been caught. So we move on to 3rd and 5 here. And the Bills bring in, this looks to be, I think that's Kevin Johnson right there. So we've seen several guys in the slot already. Neal was the base nickel corner. Marlowe was kind of their big nickel, and they kind of rotated him in and out in this game just to give them different looks. And usually when they brought Kevin Johnson in, what does that usually mean? He was more of their man corner, right, guys? So I would expect some type of man coverage, but it looks like they check out of it. So you saw, as soon as that condensed formation from the motion right there, you see Hyde right there pointing, and you can even see Milano right there pointing. They're pointing to the sky, and generally that was obviously a check to look like cover 2, but we'll have to see here. We'll have to see later in the game, because this play didn't count, obviously. Yeah, usually that check is the cover 2. All right, 3rd and 10 now, so they got backed up here. Looks like Johnson's still in the slot to the bottom, and this is just cover 2 man, I believe. Yeah, this is the fun play. So it's an incomplete pass. They throw it to the top to Hyde. But let's take a look at this play, because I always love watching this one. Again, 3rd and 10, something they ran a lot of. So you got Hyde right here. And on the snap, he makes it look, you know, the whole defense makes it look like they're blitzing. I mean, you got guys at all levels right here showing pressure, tight man coverage to the bottom. You got your field corner and off coverage, but his eyes are on the quarterback, right? I mean, you see him, he's looking right at Eli. Now, on the snap, you're going to see them rotate into something different. On the snap, what happens is you see Hyde at the top. He drops up, drops out, and he's got number 1 receiver to the weak side, because it's a 3-by-1. You got 3 receivers to the bottom, 1 to the top. He's got number 1. This corner is going to deep half. This safety is a deep half. And then these guys are all manned up right here. And that includes Trey Edmonds, who probably has this tight end, but that tight end stays in to block. So the Bills showed one coverage and then dropped to another. They dropped to 2-man. It's not something they do a lot of, but it's something they did on 3rd and 10 plus, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13. They went to this 2-man coverage, and you see the corners at the bottom. Watch. It's what they call, you hear me talk about it a bunch, it's a dog or trail technique. So they get into a trail technique. They get on the back hip or back shoulder. You see they're in trail. They're going to make Eli or any quarterback throw it up and over him or through a tight window. And even Hyde is kind of doing that as well. So you see them get into that underneath trail technique. And then these corners obviously are the help over the top. And it's a play that goes incomplete, but it's a really nice coverage from the Bills. If you guys have any questions, just unmute yourself and shoot them to me, because I won't be able to go back and forth between the chat. So, all right, we'll move on. But that's a coverage I really like by the Bills. And I mean, look at what Eli is looking at, and also think about this year. I mean, I know Zoe's gone, but I mean, who could take his place right here? I mean, Jefferson, Epinesa, Mario Addison. I mean Murphy. You could put so many different guys as this quasi defensive tackle. I mean, you could say that really of all these positions. You could put, I mean, even Ed Oliver could bump outside to where Hughes is. I mean, the defensive line is going to be fun to watch this year. And you see the, it's as the ball snap. Let me try to get to that part. And now if this running back obviously releases out into the flats, I mean, he's covered by Milano. If this tight end runs some type of route, that's going to be Edmonds' guy. It's a really good play call because it has that type of versatility where, okay, if you're worried about us creating pressure when you have to push the ball down the field, especially when you have a guy like Eli Manning who's a statue back there, you're going to keep extra rusher or extra blockers in there. We're going to insert those rushers. We're going to insert the guys that were supposed to cover them as pass rushers, and you see that's what they do. It's picked up pretty well, but it's one of those things that they still have to make a tight throw to a receiver with a guy underneath him.
So I know you said that Kevin Johnson was more of the man guy last year. Who do we feel like is going to be that guy to kind of fill that role? I know Josh Norman's more, it seems like, the more zone, not as much man to man. How are we going to replace that with the guys that we brought in now?
And when I say that, I meant it more from the slot. So I think they do believe in Taron Johnson still, obviously, because they didn't really upgrade that spot. But I do expect EJ Gaines to get a lot more looks on the inside than he did last year. In camp last year when we were there with Greg and Aaron, EJ Gaines looked really good. And that was including him bumping into the slot. And I think that they're hoping that they can, kind of get some reps for him as that guy in there, and I think he can make a difference when they do want to go to man. The other thing that's going to help them, Taron Johnson, EJ Gaines, whoever is in that nickel, is the fact that the Bills' defensive line and defensive front, I think, is going to create so much more pressure that it's going to help the back end, right?
Yep, for sure. It doesn't give them near as much time to be able to decipher and make those throws.
Exactly. So this was a really nice play. It looks like they sent, let me get back to the all 22 because I think they sent a blitz. So they sent Levi right here. They sent him on a blitz. And I want you to watch Harrison Phillips. The main reason I picked this game to watch today because I wanted to get a couple looks at Harrison Phillips, and it's one of the games that when I looked back at his plays last year, and I know he didn't have many, this game stood out because he was everywhere, and you see him chase that play down. But watch how he slants. Okay, so he's right here, so he's on the outside, left shoulder of the center, and on the snap, as they send that corner blitz, when they send that corner, what happens is these defensive linemen are all slanting inside because you have that corner now being the C-gap player instead of Jerry Hughes, right? So on the snap, here's Harrison Phillips. Watch that wide first step as the ball snapped, and he just swims it, and now he's in chase mode. You got pursuit, obviously, from the blitzer. You got pursuit from this side. He's kind of hemmed in, and he's able to make the tackle on Barkley. But I mean, even on this play, Barkley, how he avoided Levi Wallace there is pretty remarkable. He just got the ball too. He just received it right there. A little juke move, and he's brought down by Harrison. So a really nice play by Harrison Phillips. Not one that he had to read, but one that was, based on that corner blitz.
Do we know where the Bills ranked last year as far as sacks and pressures?
Yeah, I can get you pressure rate, sacks. That's something you can just look up at NFL.com. Let me bring that up real quick.
Because I'll be interested to see an increase this year. I think there's going to be a nice little jump.
Okay, so I remember looking at pressure rate from Football Outsiders. I remember them being, in 2018, they were 4th in pressure rate. And then, hold on 1 second. And then last year, I think they dropped to 12th, I believe. But let me just double check that. So pressure rate defense.
I'm chilling until Train gets here. If you want to go over there so that we're positioned opposite, that's fine.
What's up? Okay, so last year they were 11th. They finished 11th at 30.7%. Can you guys see that?
No, it's a little small. I'm on my phone, but that's all right.
Hold on one sec then. I can help that too. Hold on.
Yeah, that's what I usually do, but that's usually because I trust my shot above most people's. Not being cocky or anything. That's just why I play aggressive, kind of. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, so last year, 2019, they were 11th at 30.7%. And we'll go back to 2018. Pressure rate, defense. They were 4th. So, again, that's a decent drop, but I expect them to be closer to the top 5 this year. If they don't, those free agent moves that they made were a failure, in my opinion. I think they, replacing Shaq Lawson with Amario Addison, adding AJ Epinesa, adding Vernon Butler and Jefferson, like if they don't improve in pressure rate, I think those moves, something went wrong. Maybe there's some kind of injury or something, but I just think that's how much better they should be.
I agree. I think the pressure should go up and the run defense should be a little better too.
No doubt about it. So this was a cool play. What the Giants tried doing here is just confusing. So you're going to have the H-back going this way. You're going to have the running back going this way, kind of crossing up their reads. But watch Poyer, who's coming off the edge here. It looks like he's blitzing, but then he reads it and ends up going upfield and kind of blowing the whole play up. See him widen right there, and Eli's forced to just kind of dump it down. So good eyes by Poyer there, and look at him, he even finishes the play there, just in case it is a fumble. So sets up 3rd and 9. 3-by-1 set to the bottom of the screen, and Bills have Johnson in here in the slot to the bottom, and they throw in his direction. And when I said that Johnson was kind of the man cover corner from the slot, you see here it's a little different, right? They rotate into, it looks like cover 3, but at the beginning of the play pre-snap, this is showing as what, guys? It's showing as quarters coverage. Typically the Bills align their defensive backs, and especially the corners, they're going to be about 10 to 12 yards off, and these safeties will be usually 12 to 15 off. And this is showing across the top as quarters, which when it's 3rd and 9, that's a good basic coverage that the Bills like to run. But on the snap, what happens is you have Poyer drop into the hole. You have these guys all dropping into their deep thirds, into their flats. You see Edmonds is basically going to be in the same position right along the hashes as Poyer is. And watch the drop by Johnson here. I like this drop. His eyes and hips are still facing the quarterback. He gets to his depth, and then he's squaring up. And what he's doing as he's dropping is he's slowly taking away number 2 here. Let me erase these. So he's staying over the top of the number 2 right here, right? And he's passing him. And now what is he doing? Now he's getting under number 1. So he's taking away those options. And now with his back right up against the number 1, with his eyes on the quarterback, he has the number 3 to the flats. And he jumps up and gets him. Obviously the pass is inaccurate, but that's just really good athleticism. I mean, look at the speed to his drop, the eyes and fluidity by Johnson at the bottom there. And again, if that's caught, that's going to be a tackle, hopefully, short of the sticks. And this looked to be just a 4-man rush. You have the running back right here kind of helping out with Jerry. Not much pressure, a little bull rush. Looks like a little pressure up the middle from Zoe. I mean, and he's not fooling around here. He goes right to the bull move on the snap. check this out. He does push a pocket a little bit, and Murphy does come free because looks like that right tackle is kind of thinks about helping out, and you see Murphy loop it outside, but good play by the defense and keeping that ball in front of him even though it wasn't completed. All right, so obviously on to the next drive. Bill's showing 2 deep over here versus a 2x2 set, and this is one of those plays like I remember. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember beginning of the last year, so many people were talking about Trey White struggling, and you know Trey White's not a legit corner, legit number 1 or top 5 corner, and so I created this really long thread on Trey White, and you know, yes, he lets a lot of receptions on him, but the Bills play so much zone. There's a lot of deception in those stats, and this is another one of those plays. I mean, this counts against Trey White per PFF, but I mean, he's in off coverage, and it's a 3 to 5 step slant. I mean, of course they're gonna give that up. I mean, what do you expect right here? You know, especially because they're basically running the Patriot special where you have a flat and then the slant right here. So if based on where this safety is coming from right here, I think that's Hyde. You know, he's obviously driving down on that. Based on where he's coming from, White can't just automatically just jump this. If he does and the ball's thrown out here, look at the leverage that route has on Hyde, right? So he slows plays it, and then, once the ball is thrown, and it's a really nice throw because Eli waits for Hyde to clear, and it's completed. But making the tackle, minimizing that, it's an easy pitch and catch that counts against Trey White. But one of those plays, man, like that's why stats, you can't just go off of stats, because based on that leverage, based on that off technique, I mean, you're gonna give up those kind of passes regardless of who the corner is.
Yeah, especially in today's league where it's so pass heavy. If you hold a receiver to 4 or 5 catches for maybe 40 to 60 yards, I mean, they're not really doing much damage. You're not going to completely shut anybody down. No corner does.
Nope. And so watch this. This is pretty cool. All right. So what teams did a lot of last year is obviously they try to influence right here. They try to influence Tremaine. They want him to jump forward so that, it kind of opens up the pass lane right there, right? So what they do is they send a little false read. They're going to send like a fake puller here. And actually Barkley is supposed to follow to get that action, to really sell it. But he realizes not only does the ball hit the ground, but he realizes that the Bills are sending a blitz. They're sending Neal off the edge here. You see Daryl Johnson slanting in here, and Neal is blitzing from the slot. And so Barkley, rightfully so, doesn't execute the fake. He stays in and picks up Neal, and Neal gets kind of caught in no man's land, and nothing he really could do except for jump up there. But I mean, we see that a lot against Tremaine. They want to get him and Milano downhill because they're such fast flow linebackers. They're going to bite more times than not. So it looks like they're in a heavy set now, at least 12 personnel. Here's the play. Trey White came down. So he's on the top of the screen right here, and we'll see it from the tight cam angle. He's not messing around on this play. He's not letting that touchdown happen again. He comes down and makes a really good tackle here. So it's their duo concept. We talk about it all the time. On the snap, their entire line is blocking down here, and so the free defender is the corner, and that's what offensive coordinators want. They want their running back against a corner or safety, and White squeezes it really well, comes all the way down. I mean, there's really nowhere for White to go, and let me back it up a little bit because a really good job by Daryl Johnson right here. His gap is actually this one right here that's moving, and this tight end has a pretty good reach on him. He's got the hips to play side number here, but he disengages with the right hand right here, and he blows that play up and forces Barkley to kind of go right into Trey White. And that's where the tackle's made. So learning from your mistakes. Don't wait you saw him on that first drive, on that touchdown. You saw him wait, not squeeze the grass and squeeze the distance between him and the runner, and it gave Barkley way too much room to operate, and he couldn't make the tackle. There, he squeezed it, and they got the tackle in the backfield here. Now, this looks like a double move to the bottom of the screen. Double moved Levi there. Now, this coverage, it's hard to tell exactly, but this looks like cover 6 to me, just based on the depth of these two players. So he'd have a quarter, he'd have a quarter, he's got a half, and then he's got, he's like a squat corner, almost like a cover 2. So it's cover 2 basically to the top of the screen, and then quarter here at the bottom of the screen. And the move almost works. I mean, especially off coverage, that the Giants like to run those slants, as we already saw, and you see the backfield, it's the same thing. You got a flat route right here, but this is the flats player, so he'll be expanding with that flat route right there. Levi does kind of bite on it, and you can see, I think this is Hyde right here. He spins and tries getting back as well, so the ball's kind of thrown behind him, so not a bad coverage. The Bills don't play cover 6 all that much, so they're throwing some different things out there. And when you play Eli Manning, even though he doesn't have that arm strength anymore, kind of mixing it up is necessary. And who got the pressure and hit here? Is it Daryl Johnson? Oh yeah, I remember this play. So, and I don't know if this actually, the hit on the quarterback really screwed up the trajectory here. It might have. It kind of looks like the ball is fluttering there. So you can never really tell though with Eli. But let's take a look at what happened with Johnson here. So on the snap, man, you always hear people talk about chip blocks are nice. It's good in theory, right? But look at how this chip block by the tight end here really screws up the pass set by this right tackle. It ricochets him, Daryl Johnson, right inside. And now this tackle, you see his feet. Now he has to recover, and he's just, he's not really able to. And that's how Johnson gets in there. So that nice chip block by the tight end actually was detrimental to the pass set of that right tackle, and we see that so much. That's why you won't hear me really complaining about the Bills going to empty sets a lot, and keeping a tight end or running back in to help out with the blocking. No, because if you're running these kind of chip blocks, things like this can happen, and it screws up the offensive lineman too, because they're thinking that they have certain leverage and they don't, and maybe that right tackle kind of oversets it. No, it's a vertical set, so he didn't really overset out wide. This is just something that it sounds great in theory, but hey, I'm all about throwing as many guys into a route as you can. So yes, here and there chipping is nice, but I'd rather have Devin Singletary out in a route. I'd rather have Dawson Knox out in a route.
Do they
or at
not
least
plan for if he gives a certain leverage to pass him off to the tackle?
Run that by me again.
Do they not plan for things like that, where if he shows a certain leverage, just let the tackle take him? Don't mess up the play.
And you're talking about leverage from the defensive end. Whose leverage are you talking about?
Yeah. So if the end's coming straight up field, just let the tackle take him, because that's how he's setting up for it.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you have to set aside as a coach, time and practice, because like you said, it's one of those things that it's a feel thing. Now if this tight end was way out, if the DN was way out, somewhere like here, and he's gonna be using a speed rush to get to the corner, obviously this tackle, he understands that, well, this defensive end has to work around the tight end, so guess what, I'm gonna vertical set and change my angle and go depth here. And like I said, I don't think this right tackle played it all that bad off the snap, because you see he doesn't really get much depth, and it's vertical, it's straight back, so he's expecting this chip, and it's really nice. I don't know why he shoots his hands here. Right there, you kind of see him shoot his hands. I don't know why he's shooting his hands here. What he should do is, if he's gonna shoot his hands, it should only be this one probably, right? It should only be that right hand. Keep that left hand as your drag hand out here as your, another set of eyes. So when he does loop in here, you get your hand on his chest, and then you get your feet in position to match. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, that's a tough thing, man. That's tough, and something that you have to practice and work through, and it's probably not something that a lot of teams do, All right, someone's got to mute. Someone's got to mute their mic there. I'm hearing like a fan. Thank you. All right, so another play where the Bills, and you can see the rotation, they drop into cover 3. Now, see, I want to show a few different things here. So I'll show the rotation. They're showing cover 2 initially, right? You can see them split backs in the backfield. They're showing 2 high safeties off the bat, and then they drop out and this safety drops in. But watch again, watch Johnson right here. Again, eyes on the quarterback the entire time, showing that fluidity. But watch, you see it, he squares up a little sooner, right? Like before, in that other play, he kind of squared up out near the number 1. Well, he squares up here because he realizes that the number 3 right here is staying inside a little more. He's curling it up right there. So this is a good job of what McDermott always talks about, of protecting the middle of the field, right? This entire defense, they play a lot of cover 3, they play a lot of quarters because they like to protect the middle of the field and those deep passes down the field. Good job of Johnson of staying, tight to the hash there. And looks like the ball's deflected by, I want to say it's Lorenzo. But you can see how the technique for Johnson changed there, and that's something that's very subtle. But if that running back gets the ball there, he's in better position, already planted and eyes on that guy to come downhill. So let's see what the it looks like Lorenzo was just kind of like a spy or an occupier right there. Look, he's occupying 2 guys, and he's barely really rushing. He's just reading the quarterback's eyes right there. And looks like Murphy had a pretty nice touch and go. So watch Murphy out wide here. So he's obviously out wide. He's going to be using a little more speed, right? And he goes to the transition right here. He goes right to a bull, a little push move. But then you see him kind of touch and go. He doesn't even pull the jersey. You hear people talk about push pulls where he comes in with power, pushes him right there, grabs some cloth, and then kind of throws him down and goes by him around the edge there. This one's more of a touch and go. Gets the right there extension right there with his both hands, and then kind of touch and goes to a rip, but ball's out and deflected. So 1st and 10, Bills are up 21-7. It looks like the next drive here. Another play, I believe, that goes on the perimeter right here, and very little gain, and that's because of the job. I believe it's Murphy right here to the right hand side right here. I think this is Murphy right there. Watch him kind of string this play out as they run that crack toss again. So they're bringing that tight end over, and he's supposed to seal that edge, right? He's supposed to reach and seal that edge right there. But watch Murphy. He darts upfield and then recognizes, oh no, it's going outside. I'm going to retrace out wide right there. And, the tight end still covers him up, but look at how there's no edge now. And look at how it keeps this defender right here free. So he's able to work over the top now. I think that's Milano. And yeah, that's Milano. See, and even though those guys are covered up, you have all this pursuit. There's no edge there. Where the edge should have been was right here, right? You can see here comes the block by the receiver. There should have been a nice little alleyway there for the running back, but it's strung out because everyone is working to full capacity there and pushing that play wide and stringing it out wide.
Man, look how fast Edmonds got to that sideline.
Yeah, I know, right?
Jesus.
Yeah, man, he's going to take a jump, man. He is going to take a jump this year. I can't wait. 2nd and 10. Looks like a 2x2 set. Okay, so here again, this is one of those plays that, you know, counts against Trey White, but it really is nothing. I mean, it's one of those plays. They appear to be in quarters coverage. It's a 2x2 set, so 2 to the top, 2 to the bottom, and they're just bringing this guy in to run, you know, a speed out. I mean, it's common. We're gonna talk about that play, that isolation route on these speed outs in the Jake Fromm breakdown tomorrow. I mean, there's really nothing that White can do here. I mean, this is just one of those plays that the coverage is gonna have that. It's gonna surrender that. I mean, this counts against White, but this is really just a scheme thing. But again, it's only a short gain. I mean, and they're willing to concede those 3-4 yard plays, especially on 2nd down, when they stop the run on, you know, 1st down or whatever, and they're able to minimize the 1st down run, then minimize the 2nd down pass, and now we get in a 3rd down, and, you know, 3rd and 4th, so 3rd medium situation here, and what can we do now? So looks like it's obviously another condensed set. They like to run these 3x1 sets, and everyone's condensed. We got Kevin Johnson in here, just to keep in mind, and Hyde is right here in the slot. And you saw Hyde kind of tell Johnson to back off, because he's gonna press up on him so that you know, there's no any type of rub route, that they're gonna stay clear of each other. And this one is just the tight alignment right here. So this condensed set is setting up this speed out right here. So this is man coverage. This is more on White, but White cannot get much closer, right? He can't really press man. And I don't know if he's supposed to on this play. I imagine based on this formation that White was supposed to be, you know, in soft press here, but you can tell that the alignment had a lot to do in why this route was completed. And I think that's Ingram too. Really nice route. I mean, and he's exploding out wide and is able to get the 1st down here. The only, you know, critique I would have about this play is, you see Trey White's eyes were on the QB just a little too long. He should have been playing the man here, I think. But, you know, short gain, but they do move the chains. And as a D-line, I mean, there's not much you can do about that, right? Because he's getting the ball out so quickly on these speed routes. There's really not much they can do. You see they're not really affecting the passer there. So 1st and 10, obviously they move the chains there. Looks like 12 personnel. And I think there's a play that Ed Oliver blew up. This play was just ugly from the start. It looked like to be some type of maybe speed out. I think they got the number 1 receiver at the top of the screen running, you know, like a deep comeback route, which White has covered. I think one of the other receivers were supposed to go out. I think the running back was supposed to come out into the flats here, kind of like a speed out after this, you know, fake there, but I don't know what happened. But watch Ed Oliver from the end zone angle here. Here he is right here. He just slants inside. There's no way that this left tackle Solder is going to cut off Oliver here, and too bad he doesn't get in there, but he's the one that really flushes, as does Lawson from the left-hand side. So good defense there. And I mean, Eli had really nowhere to go. What's that?
Was that not holding when he's like holding his hands while he's trying to run past?
I mean, that's kind of weak in my eyes. I don't think that's much. I mean, if it's thrown, I'd be happy with it, but I don't think it's all that bad. Now, you'd like to see Oliver rip a little harder, you know, a little stronger there, but I mean, I don't think it's holding really. Again, it could go either way. Another 3x1 set, 2nd and 10. So we got Neal in the slot to the bottom. Let me see if we get to the play here. Okay, so this is a 4-man pressure, so they send 4. trying to see what the coverage is here. This looks like, okay, so this is what the Bills do a lot of. Obviously they're showing, I was too high, right? They got 2 across the top. But on the snap, what's going to happen is they're going to send Milano from the boundary. This is a play they ran, a creeper pressure, a replacement pressure. They ran a lot into the boundary. So they'll send the linebacker from the boundary there. And what happens is your replacement is coming from the other side. So he's going to come into the hook to curl area. He's a hook to curl player. And then I think this is your flats player. This is your deep third. This is your deep third. Here's your deep third. Here's your flats player. So it's cover 3, but it's just a different look. It's a replacement pressure. It's a creeper pressure. It's something they run a lot of. And you see, looks like they throw it to the bottom of the screen, right under Saran Neal. And this is just a really nice play. So take a look at it right here. You're seeing the wide receiver kind of hook it up, right? And this is, again, this is going to count against Neal. And you see he's actually doing a good job of squeezing that route. You see him squeeze it. He takes speed. What these cover 3 players that are playing up the seam are taught to do is take speed off of that route. Make this receiver go around you, right? Take speed, use your hands. And he does a good job of doing that. But now you got to remember, he's what, guys? He's a flats player. And what's down here? You know, he's thinking with his eyes on the quarterback, he's thinking, okay, there's a good chance that the ball is going to come out to this receiver right here. Well, Eli, and even Eli's kind of selling it because his eyes are to the middle of the field. So they're protecting the middle of the field like we talked about. But then, you know, just as Neal slightly moves right there, ball's incoming to this little curl route. The corner's too far off. There's no way he's going to make a play on it. And the ball's completed. So it's still pretty sound defense. Like, this was a play where Neal could have stayed put and been perfectly fine. You know, make Eli throw it from the right hash all the way out here to outside the numbers. Make him make that throw. But given on where his eyes were, you know, where he worked from right to left here, I mean, this is not a bad play by Neal. I wouldn't really, you know, ding him on this play. I mean, he's in decent position. Just a headier play by Eli Manning and a good catch by the receiver. See the protection here. So this is nice. It looks like initially, see who they're pointing out as the it looks like the center right there kind of pointed out as the mic is right here. So normally these guys are going to slide, and then these would have one-on-one here, and then the running back would have possibly the linebacker if he showed. But it looks like they do switch it up because on the snap, the offensive line, see, it looks, now they switch it right there. They see Milano blitzing. Eli calls it out right there. And so now they're switching the mic. So now it looks like they made Milano the mic. And that's why the center and these other 2 offensive linemen right here, they all slide right here. So you got 1, 2, 3, and I think they're just releasing the running back into a route. So everyone's covered up here. And so because Shaq Lawson dropped out, the man side of the protection right here ends up being a 2-on-1. And again, good job at Eli. I mean, look at him work through those progressions. I mean, that's not bad at all. Right to left, and then gets it in the hole there on the curl route. So 3rd and 1, they didn't get the first down on that. And they run a little QB sneak, and I think they get the first down. All right, so we're in the 2nd quarter, about halfway through, 5 minutes left. 2-by-2 set. Looks like Neal is into the top of the screen. Is this the play where he blows up the screen? Let me see here. Oh, it's a handoff. He does come down and make the tackle here, though. All right, let's take a look at it from the end zone angle. So this looks like this some kind of audible. So I wonder if this was supposed to be a different sort of run, and they see that, you know, they're kind of outnumbered over here with Poyer coming down. This looks like they run to the other side here. Let it run real quick. Okay, so this is just inside zone, and they're running it to the bubble side. You know, you see the bubble right here. Now he does cut it up inside because he gets a really nice block by, I think it's a center right here. You see Star try to swim that right guard, but he gets his shoulders turned, and he's got this gap. Looks like, let's see where Milano is right here. All right, that's Edmonds. So yeah, they're just kind of out-gapped on the backside here. They run actually, this is actually a run stunt. So all right, let's rewind this. Okay, this is what happens, guys. So you're gonna see Oliver twist and become the C-gap player. Lawson's supposed to sift over the top and almost like a defensive game, like a twist, right? He's supposed to go over the top. He gets a little too much contact into the tight end, and then he gets walled off right there. Here comes Neal, which really good job coming down and filling into this gap where, you know, Lawson should have been getting to. Something they ran a lot in this game. I forgot about that. Ran a few run stunts against these inside zone runs, and that's typically when you see those run stunts. You're going to see them against inside zone, but they get a good chunk of yardage there. But good tackle by Neal, and I'm excited to see what Neal can do now. You know, enough of this big nickel talk. I want to see him play. I want him to I want him to fill that role. You know, it's something he played a lot in that playoff game, and there were times where he looked, you know, lost in coverage throughout the year. But I want to see him expand. I want that role expanded, and I want to see him do a little better job in coverage this year. This looks like another just speed play to the bottom of the screen. So, I mean, there's not much to this play, but I always like to point out when these two linebackers are working together right here. So they are responsible for the tight end and the running back right here. And watch as the ball snaps. So you're going to see Ingram step out and run a crosser, and you're going to see the running back run outside the tackle. Once this running back gets outside the tackle here, that becomes Milano's guy. All right, that becomes his guy. And then now Edmonds has that crosser. So it's a push. You heard me talk about it. It's box coverage. It's a push by these two linebackers. It's a way of, you know, playing zone coverage, but pattern matching at the same time. But that does leave you susceptible. Again, you're protecting the middle there. You're doing a good job of protecting the middle. But because Milano kind of has to hold right here, it kind of opens up the underneath stuff right there outside. And that's what happens there. Oops, someone batted that one down. Looks like they're just trying to little quick slant to the bottom. Not a bad job by Levi either. Outside release. Good job of that receiver. Watch that right hand come up and over the top, but you know, this is where Levi's length, you know, comes in hand. You see that near hand jam right there, and then plant that right foot. Look at that transition. Boom, hips turned. That's really nice. And then immediately gets right back on the guy, and of course it is batted there, but that would have been pretty well defended by Levi Wallace there if that was thrown. That would have been a contested catch. It's Harrison right here, I think, is the one that gets it. Yeah, looks like he's the one that got it. On the next play is 2nd and 10. Second quarter is winding down. Another 3-by-1 set, this time a bunch to the top of the screen. And so obviously really nice play. Good hustle by Milano. So what happened here? So they bring the tight end across the formation here, and it looks to be zone. There's no one going with him really. And they're expecting, it looks like they're expecting a run here because they're sending the safety here. You're going to get that action again, and then the DN kind of looping again like we just talked about. So I think they're expecting a run here, and what happens is that puts Milano man on man, and he gets picked off right there. I mean, that's tough. I mean, what is Milano to do here? Honestly, the best thing that he does is he plays, outside leverage, outside in, right? He keeps that play inside, right there, attacks out here, and here's the alley. Now, if that running back were to get out here, now he's got a lot more space. But either way, Barkley is going to do as much as he can with what he's given there. But Milano does make up for it at the end. On to the next play. 1st and 10 situation. Let's see here. Another 3-by-1 set. It's more of a little spaced out bunch here. They bring guy across the formation. And this was the play I was talking about earlier. Neal blows this up. So imagine all these things that are happening. Here comes the motion across. We saw it earlier. You saw Neal run with that jet action, right? Earlier in the game and make that tackle. Now, I mean, they're really testing him. And he remains patient. He stays there. And he doesn't come too far inside. Keeps his eyes in the backfield. And that's all important because as the play sorts out and this screen sets up, he keeps outside leverage on this little screen, this little dump off. And he's able to make the tackle and undercut that block by the right tackle. Such a really nice play from Neal. You can see it even better from the tight camera angle. So here comes that action across. They want Neal to dive inside. I mean, they want the entire second level. Watch the entire second level. They want all of them to come across the formation and jump inside because they're gonna pull a guard here. You see the guard pulling. You got this action coming this way. Obviously Barkley's gonna show a little movement here. I mean, everything is showing, hey, fast flow this way, guys. But Neal sorts it out, man. He stays home. He sees the soft, set right here by this tackle. Reads it perfectly. Stays home. And then gets over the top, undercuts that block, and makes snatches that leg for a tackle. I mean, this is a really nice play by him. That's what I'm saying. Like, he has the size and athleticism that you want in that big nickel role and that Buffalo nickel, and as a corner, as a slot corner, man, he's not afraid to come downhill and make a tackle in the box. And we've seen that. I mean, you guys remember the big hit in the LSU game when he was in college still. I mean, he can play the run really well. And this was the Bills' favorite play a couple of years ago, right? Condensed set. You got a deep crosser coming here, a deep crosser here, and then a post right here. This is a play Robert Foster, was blowing up teams on. What happens here is it's taken away over the top. So you got one-on-one right here, Barkley and Milano, and watch Milano do work here. Accelerates and makes the tackle. And look if he doesn't make this tackle, I mean, he's got open field. Barkley's got some open field here. And, you got a couple defenders here. But, I mean, he's going to have a full head of steam heading into the open field if this tackle is not made here. So nice play by Milano. And more importantly, it's a completed pass in the field of play. Keeps that clock running. But, I mean, look at the pass rush. I mean, there's really not much there, guys. I can't wait for this year. I mean, this is something you see. I posted something on Twitter yesterday where Hughes is just getting the treatment. I mean, they're accounting for him. They're giving this left tackle some help. And there's just not much pressure here. And, I mean, Eli's able to make it all the way to his check down. You don't want that. So I hope that, they are able to increase their pressure rate as we talked about earlier. So 3rd and 9, 2-minute warning.
Do you think they'll move Hughes around at all?
Hughes?
Yeah.
I think they could. It's he's just so comfortable on that right side. But it's something I talked about on Twitter the other day. Is I'm excited about seeing Mario Addison as a stand-up quasi defensive tackle up the middle in that Joker role that Zoe showed the last few years. I think they can do that with Jerry Hughes. They've done it with Jerry Hughes. Did a few times last year where they mug him right in that A gap. They have some different packages that they can do, that they could do with the personnel they had before. I think that obviously that is probably doubled the amount with their personnel that they brought in. There is so much more they can do with their personnel and the flexibility with the guys that they brought in. It's going to be fun to see.
Have you seen them use any wide nine at all? He seemed to be really successful in that.
Do I see us using any wide nine?
Yeah.
Some, not much, only because they're comfortable with their 4-man rush, and when you use wide nine and you widen those pass rush lanes, you not only can't get your hands on the ball and get your hands in those passing lanes, which they obviously love, and obviously Leslie Frazier teaches. But it opens those rushing lanes for quarterbacks, and I know maybe not a lot of the quarterbacks that they're playing this year aren't those guys, but maybe those running backs releasing into a route get a clearer angle through the hole and able to get into flats quicker. It just opens up other things, and I don't know if any of our guys really have the speed anymore to get home from that wide nine. What ends up happening is, when you're, say, Jerry Hughes maybe is the most explosive of the defensive ends of this group. You get him out wide, yeah, maybe he can get home, but what ends up happening is he realizes he's not going to get home, and he's going to go to power, which he could have did that from a tighter alignment, or he could have won an edge from a tighter alignment. So I think they will align some of these guys out wide in wide nines, but I don't think it'll be for the purpose that you think it is, to getting home. I don't think it'll work all that well. Here's a big hit. I showed this yesterday from Hyde. This is him right here. Look at him rotate, his eyes and his entire body is, to the field here. Opens up as he gets to his deep half and then just lays in to this receiver as the ball is thrown into the honey hole. Really big hit. And you see the receiver at the end of this, he's hurting, man. Oh, that was such a big play. I mean, think about that. That was third down too, right? So third and 9 or something like that. Big hit by Hyde there. So 2x2 set. Looks like they send another corner blitz, and it opens up that curl route to the bottom. So, I mean, they showed this a little too early. So here's your nickel corner, here's your safety, and you see the safety is stacked right over the top. I mean, that's typically to an experienced QB like Eli. I mean, you're capping the nickel safety there. The safety's capping that nickel. That usually means that he's blitzing, and he does. He comes off the edge, but with the off coverage to the bottom there, I mean, that's just a lot of room to operate against Levi's. He drives on it, and he makes a tackle, but that's just one of those routes that's usually going to be open because he's not going to be aggressive on that. He's an off coverage. He knows there's really no help out there with him. He's willing to concede the stuff in front of him. He just can't get beaten deep, and at least he makes a tackle here. So here's that little combination right here between these two players. There it is again. You see Edmonds points out wide. That running back's releasing out wide. That's Milano's guy, and they're matching it. Which is a good way of not giving the offense, when they want to throw the tight ends or the running back there, it's a way of not giving them the leverage they want on passing plays. Little thing, but it actually deters a lot of throws. And I think this was a bad pass that was intercepted by Murphy off the edge. Real quick. Not that the ball was going to him, but watch Edmonds matching Ingram down the middle of the field. I mean, he's right underneath him. Obviously has a little help with the safety over the top, but big turnover here. It was Ed Oliver that got this. Look at him. He's not getting home. Read that quarterback's eyes. Wait for that, top of the drop. Wait for that delivery. Time it. He does, and you see Murphy come around the edge and somehow bring that in. Nice play by the defense, and that was needed because the Giants were driving. So now we're into the second half. Looks like the Giants are in 12 personnel, so the Bills in their big nickel here. Run play shut down. Let's see here. And you can see when they, teams go to this 12 personnel look with both tight ends to the same side, they reduce Jerry right here to a 6. We saw him at a 6-eye earlier. Because if this is a pass, you got to have, your safety or your big nickel, I should say, in position, to cover that guy. But this is a run, and really nice job of Hyde of coming down and squeezing it, and then Murphy is the one that disengages here. So you're seeing Hyde come down. This looks like a run blitz, so they're exchanging gaps. That right tackle does a good job of working to the play side. Right here, you see him clamp down with his left hand, but that's when Murphy extends both hands, and he realizes that the running back's cutting it back inside, so he works and retraces back to make the tackle on the running back. 111th. I mean, having Hyde come off the edge there and keeping that run inside, could have been all the difference. If that doesn't happen and Barkley has a little more room outside, maybe he gets outside Murphy there. Murphy doesn't have the athleticism to make the tackle, accelerate and make the tackle there. Here's a little dump down to Barkley, and he just makes a few guys miss. Let's see what happens here. I think this is just Milano just missed the tackle here. Yeah, so you see Milano gain depth here. But then as the ball's coming in right here, you see his shoulders. He's going up this way, right? When he really should be playing outside in. And so what happens is he comes down on that angle, and now the running back is bursting out wide here. He can't make up for it, dives, misses a tackle. Trey White misses one, and Barkley is able to get a bunch of yards. Looks like he's short, 3rd and 1, but I mean, that's one of those plays that should have been minimized. Yeah, right up the gut, 1st down. And it looks like Jerry Hughes is just washed down here. We're lucky that didn't, burst even wider there. That could have been a touchdown. Another 3-by-1 set. Looks like Hyde is down here on the number 3. Bills are just playing straight man coverage, and this is one that is against Trey White. And man, from the broadcast angle, I think his fist was right there, right at the catch point, but he wasn't able to knock it loose. But I mean, it's still good coverage. I mean, look at that mirror technique. I mean, on the snap, the receiver opens up outside, so he gets in position. Him stay over the top of that, shoulder right here. And then, he cuts the route off. You always hear me talk about that. Cuts the route off, and that receiver, it's not even like he's working back on that, and just White's not able to get his hand in there well enough to pop that pass out of there. That was 3rd down, so they convert. But again, that was good coverage there. And that looked to be just a 4-man rush. So 1st and 10. Send the safety blitz again. Nice tackle there. I think that's Levi to the top of the screen. making that tackle again. See you later. So, I mean, this is something I talked about, and this kind of jarred my memory. So, obviously, Eli Manning was comfortable throwing outside with a hat on a hat here, with this corner playing that far off. But also, you got to keep in mind, Levi Wallace, his tackling was pretty bad last year. I think he missed 10 to 12 against the passing game. He only had like 2 missed tackles against the run game. So, you know, this is a advantageous alignment and matchup because, you know, getting your receiver one-on-one with Levi Wallace will typically give you a big play. There he makes a decent tackle though. 2nd and 3. 12 personnel again. You can see everyone's rotating here. And the only reason they did that is because, you know, the passing strength changed from the left side to the right side, apparently. That's what it looks like. So you're going to see Marlowe rotate with the passing strength, and here comes Poyer down. So what happens on the backside of this run? Let's take a look at that. All right, you can see eyes are in that gap. He's in that gap. The issue here is right here, Johnson. All right, so we'll go back to the snap. What happens here is on the snap, that tight end is able to work to the play side, and he shouldn't have been able to. It looks like Poyer is actually blitzing here, so Johnson should not have been in this gap right here. So maybe what happened is with the change in the strength and everything, maybe Johnson didn't get the correct assignment and didn't process the change. And didn't get across the face of this tight end, but he's got to get across the face here because if he's in this gap, this is Poyer's gap that Johnson is in, and then here comes White again, and guess what? Then it's defended properly like you saw earlier in the game. But one guy gets out of his gap, and you know they get a decent gain. Luckily, really nice play right here by Jordan Phillips, disengaging, making that tackle, but that's still a good chunk on that down. Okay, so they try a little throwback pass here to the tight end. But it's weird because we see this so often. So you got the action here. You got, you know, he's going out. He's probably running some kind of corner or comeback route. Here's the tight end, and typically creeps down the line, right? And then he usually curls up this way. But for some reason, this play, what this tight end does is he creeps out and then curls it up, which is just weird. I don't know if you guys remember, because the personnel here, this is Lorenzo. A few years ago, Bills played the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers ran this play, I believe it was O.J. Howard, up the sideline, and he scored a touchdown. Lorenzo blew the coverage there. We saw it again. It was a Baltimore Ravens game. They pulled it, but Lorenzo was out there, and he labeled the guy along the sideline. All the same play. They call this Y leak. Typically, that again, this tight end usually creeps up this way. For some reason, I don't know if it's because of what Lorenzo was doing. So he curls it up right here. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't like the play design. Either way, Lorenzo probably should have had an interception there. Instead, it's caught over the top of him. Good concentration by that tight end, barely leaving his feet. He's able to make the catch there. And Lorenzo knows it. He should have had that one, man. And this is a play meant to attack him, and he actually did a decent job of staying home. Good read by him, right? And he should have it. But looks like there's a flag too. So 1st and 20, that play, it looks like there maybe been a hold or something. So as you can see, Giants second half, they came out in a little more, 12 personnel. This is Marlowe to the bottom right here. And Bills are just playing cover 3. Again, you hear me say it all the time. For as good as this defense is, it's pretty simple. This is just a underneath throw to the tight end here. little curl flat combination. They call it a Hank concept. Excuse me. And you can see the guy at the bottom is also running that curl. So this is just the Hank concept. So you have this guy running a curl. He's running your flat. He's running a hunt route right here over the ball, typically swing. And this is typically a curl. So they're just trying to get some yardage back, to get back on the change. And ooh, Ed Oliver came in late with a nice hit on that one. That's what I love about him. Look, he does not give up on this play. Here he is right here. Boom. Looks like he was ripping at the ball too. Good hustle by him. He's another guy. I mean, there's so many reasons to be excited, if we have a season this year. So many reasons to be excited about this defense in particular. Just so many studs on that side of the ball. Guys that are hitting their prime at the right time, and guys that have played this same system for so long. Just exciting. Looks like that was an incomplete pass. Let's see kind of pressure they got up the middle here. So Daryl Johnson looks to be the left defensive end here. I think that's him. Oliver, Harrison, and then Shaq. So they got the reserves in here. And really nice power move by Johnson to the left-hand side of the screen. Right there. Look at that long arm. Look at him land that right there. And you can see the tackle's in trouble. That's a problem with these vertical sets. You see him, this tackle, his eyes are here, but when on the snap, he's getting vertical, right? And he's meeting the edge rusher at that apex point, at that junction right there. But it puts you in trouble because you're not going to have your feet under you, and it's tough against power. And it's a smart move by Johnson to go into power here, and he just pushes the pocket. Man, if this kid, if he can get some strength, and bulk up a little bit, he's one of those guys to be excited about because he's got some length. He has some decent transitional moves, and I think he could, maybe not this year, but maybe the next year. He has that type of talent where he could put in a lot more snaps. So that sets up 3rd and 12. 3-by-1 to the bottom, and they keep one of those guys in the help, and looks like the Bills are able to get a sack here. It's Harrison and Zoe up the middle. I don't know if you guys saw this the other day. I posted this one. This looks like it's just straight man coverage here to the bottom. Yeah, it looks like it might even be match, but they match up right there. Top of the screen, it's just man all together. But the game inside by Zoe and Harrison was just really nice on this play. Take a look at it from the end zone angle. And I think the ball even came out. I can't remember what they ruled that though. So, okay, here's another one of those plays where they, kind of insert rushers here. But we'll take a look at Harrison Phillips diving inside, and then here's Zoe coming across the formation into the A gap here. And you got the edge secure here. They kept 2 guys in over here initially to help with Hughes, and I think they eventually released that running back. But this is what's great. Like when you show pressure, I mean, they are keeping in one of their best players, one of their best receivers as a blocker. And even though Murphy is not getting to the quarterback here, I mean, that type of threat with this, this many guys up at the line of scrimmage, this simulated pressure, that threat, has to keep an extra guy in, and they're able to get to the quarterback. It's not something you see a lot of from Harrison Phillips and Zoe. It's not something you saw a lot of last year, but watch, you can see what this did right here. You can see he's got a soft edge already. He's already got the outside half man of this offensive lineman, and he maximizes that. Look at him, see him push him off to the side right there, and now he can get to the quarterback, and Zoe's there to clean up because he also has a soft edge right here. He has that, and he's able to make a play at the quarterback. Really nicely designed stunt there by two interior guys that, you know, you obviously don't see a lot of twists or games between. So 1st and 10, obviously the next drive, bunch to the top, out wide this time. And this is one of those plays like, okay, look at the way the Bills align to this. I mean, you got 4 guys out here, right? On 3. So if you run it the run play that you want with this look, you have, you know, basically a 6-man box here. But instead, what do? They bring this guy across the formation. What does that do? That just brings an extra guy into the box here, and obviously a linebacker. And the play's blown up. This is the play where I showed the other day. You see Edmonds shoot that gap. He gets a clear read on a run play. When you see a clear read, you shoot it. So this is one of those plays like, keep that receiver out wide. I mean, you have a really, really nice box here. Again, let's keep it right here. Look at this. I mean, it's uneven. You got 4 over here and only 2 right here. I mean, you could really get a play on this side, the right-hand side of the screen, and, you know, have a really nice play. But instead, you bring that guy across the formation to add as a blocker, but you bring that linebacker with him. Edmonds shoots the gap, and everyone just flowing to the ball. I mean, there's several guys in on this play. Nice job of Starr of disengaging. I know he doesn't make the tackle here, but good job of, you know, once that combo block this offensive lineman pulls off of that combo because he has to pick up that linebacker Edmonds shooting that gap. You know, Starr comes free. Here comes Neal, not messing around, getting down into his gap, and he's able to make the tackle. 2nd and 11. And see, that's why, you know, the running game is still so important. I mean, now they got the offense in 2nd and 11, and here they are going to empty. And yes, they complete it, but again, you're just extending these drives, right? You know, extending, making them. This is a totally different play than what they would have called if they would have got 4 yards on 1st down. And this is against, again, 12 personnel. This is a big nickel. Marlowe's in, and he was right there. To be honest, I thought he almost could have made the play on the ball. He doesn't. It's caught, but still a good play and coverage by him. So now 3rd and 3. See, and this is why I love the Bills defense. I'll let it play and then we'll get back to it. So 3rd 3 situation. You see them motion that corner or motion that receiver in like they had a few times. But I want you to watch what they're doing to the bottom of the screen here. Watch these 2 defenders, Kevin Johnson and Micah Hyde, mess around with Eli Manning here. I talked about it earlier. He's capping him, right? And even look at the leverage that Johnson's playing with. He's kind of playing with inside leverage here, so it does look like he's blitzing. And he, you know, eventually once the ball is snapped, he drops. I mean, the Bills are dropping into their basic cover 3. So think about this from the beginning of the game to now, what Eli's looking at, you know, on these plays, what these receivers are looking at. I mean, this slot receiver points out Kevin Johnson like he's going to blitz here, you know, and what ends up happening is they just drop into cover 3. It's nothing special. They send Edmonds here. I think it's a 4-man rush, so it is a creeper pressure. They drop this defensive end out, but it's still basic cover 3, right? Really good play. I think this is Levi right here. He's staying flat-footed. He's not, you know, bailing over the top. He's very calm right here, and he's right in position to make a play on the ball over the top of that wide receiver there. So really nice play from top to bottom. But, you know, you always hear everyone talk about how these safeties are everything, how they disguise everything. I mean, so Eli's worrying about this guy blitzing, right? And then, I mean, you got Hoyer dropping down here. There's so much they're throwing at the quarterback right here, and they end up just dropping out. And what ends up happening is that Hoyer becomes that flats defender. Eli has to wait till he clears out, but it's just a good job of staying over the top by Levi there. and making a play on the ball. So basic coverage, but there are just many ways to dress it. And these safeties play so many games with opposing quarterbacks that it just keeps them thinking. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, it's just basic coverage, and I should be able to put the ball here on a curl route to the tight end, but because of the spacing by Levi, he's able to make a play on the ball. So it looks like 21 personnel, a little pitch out. Oh, I remember this play by Harrison. Really nice play by him. So look at it from the end zone angle. So, okay, let's start off with the alignment, because this is something the Bills didn't do often, but they may do it a little more here. So they're in their over front. They have their 3-tech right here, right? Oliver is over the strong side of the formation's guard here. They're in base defense, so their linebackers are right here. And typically, you're going to have these 3 linebackers in a different position. He would be reduced right here. This guy would be out here on the line of scrimmage typically. He would be bumped over, basically. Edmonds would be bumped over to pretty much where Milano is. And then you'd have Zoe kind of where Edmonds is right here. But it's a little different here. And the reason they did that is they wanted to eliminate any of these runs to the weak side here, obviously. So what ends up happening is the Giants shift. They show a shift. They don't even motion them. And they try to pitch it out. Now watch Daryl Johnson set the edge here. I don't like his hips. His pad level is a little high, but it doesn't matter. What he's doing, he's disrupting. He's getting upfield. He's setting that edge so that, guess what? The ball has to stay inside of him, right? That's a win. That's a win for him. Now, go back and look at Harrison Phillips. He sees it coming. Look at him lead with his hands. Now look at his pad level. It's fantastic. Eyes on the ball the entire time. Now watch him trace down the line of scrimmage. You know, they're going to do a good job of down blocking at Oliver. Nothing really can do there. But watch Harrison Phillips replace him over the top and make that running back cut it back. I mean, him and Milano do a good job. I mean, they're out here. You know, Milano's right there. Obviously, you have Johnson. And here's the next guy. They're making the running back, you know, work from front side to back side. And they're making him, you know, exhaust every read on this play. And that's exactly what you want to happen on defense. So he has to cut it back, and now he's right there in traffic with the other pursuing defenders. Just really nice play here. And again, this is a front they didn't use a lot of, but yet they are well versed in the run gaps and how to replace each other and how to obviously just pursue to the ball and make the tackle. Another heavy set, 12 personnel. Marlowe's in the game, play action, deep drop, and throw to the bottom. White a little frustrated on this one. I think he slips at the top here. It's a really nice route, though. I forget who that is, but it's a really nice route. It's what the Patriots system, Dable's system, calls a rat route. So he's getting vertical, and he's kind of selling like a double move, right? But then he's curling it up. You saw Stephon Diggs wear out Richard Sherman on this a few years ago. So he gets White turned around, but White actually did a good job because you got to understand this is cover 3. And in cover 3, there are certain dividers. So based on where the leverage of the receiver and his alignment on the line of scrimmage right here, Trey White has to be on outside leverage. Obviously, he's playing zone, so his eyes are on the quarterback. That's the leverage he needs to be at. So then he thinks a speed out or an out's coming right here. So he opens his hips really quick, too. Look at him flip those hips. I mean, that's sick. And now the receiver is getting vertical again, right? So you see White adjust. He opens up. He starts his bail again. And then it just curled up and, top of the route, he's not able to break on that. So hell of a route. Takes a long time to develop. And that receiver got the best of White on that one. But, again, this is a deep comeback route. in cover 3, what you want your corner always thinking about is the deep third. And he does that. It cost him underneath, but this is your flats defender, Marlowe here. Obviously, he got sucked in. And so, you know, maybe if he's right here or even like right here, this throw doesn't happen. So if White had some better help underneath, there's probably a good chance that this throw is not even made. But because of what Marlowe does here, he doesn't get to his position. It leaves White susceptible underneath. And White was not happy about that. I mean, look at this. I mean, there's really no pressure at all. Everyone's covered up. So 1st and 10 clock is running. Another play action pass. And it looks like he came from the top of the screen. So kind of similar to what we saw earlier. It looks like this guy's leaking out right there, and then this guy's just running deep over. And my guess is that Levi was supposed to drop to third here, and then this safety, whoever that is, was supposed to come down. But I think the safety that's deep here got caught in a pickle because of the other deep crossing route. You see him pointing it out there, and the throw does come to the bottom of the screen, and that's Hyde. But you can tell the first read on this play is that leak route out of the backfield. I mean, Eli's looking at it the whole time. It's probably another reason why Hyde kind of stayed home there and didn't pick up this crosser coming back. But it did cost him there. Take a look at this run from the end zone angle. Alright, looks like who gets wiped out? Is that Murphy? I think that's Murphy. So let's see here. Yeah, I think Murphy's supposed to be right here. Milano widens the hole here. He should have been, I imagine, should have been right in here. It's Edmonds, I believe, that makes the tackle, him and Milano, but looks like there is so this is what sometimes happens. So you see Murphy, he leads with his hands, he's stacking the guy. Now linebackers are seen as the erasers a lot of times. Sometimes, you know, it's going to happen where a defensive lineman, maybe he was supposed to be in, maybe Murphy was supposed to be in this gap, you know, Milano was supposed to be in this gap, hypothetically. Sometimes what's going to happen is, you know, the offensive lineman's going to do a better job of washing, you know, Murphy down. So Milano has to process that, hey, he's out of his gap's unaccounted for, and then fill. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but I think that's why Milano was hesitant on this play. Right there. I think he, you know, definitely should have been downhill quicker. But I think he was kind of caught in a bind right here as Murphy gets washed down, or is actually not washed down. He kind of playing a little too heavy on this gap rather than getting into his gap here. And so maybe Milano was expecting Murphy to take this gap and then, you know, Milano take that gap. That's a possibility. Either way, nice run by Barkley. So another, you know, slant play here to the bottom. Looks like it's just man coverage. You're getting the flat route here, slant, and I mean, with how far off these guys are, I mean, pick your poison. If they want to throw to the flat here, these guys will rally, but it's still going to get completed. And White's not getting any help underneath here, because you see, I think the safety right there kind of shoot over the top, but he makes a tackle. And you see what the play action fake does to Milano. He's not able to get into the zone there. He's got to come downhill. That's his gap, especially with the way these guys are lined. These are their gaps. If it were to be run, that's probably where they'd be filling. He's got that one. He's got that one. He's probably got contain. So you hear me talk about the linebackers getting sucked up into the line of scrimmage on play action passes. It's going to happen. This defense is based around the linebackers, and they want them fast flowing downhill to runs. They want them being the tackle disruptors. They want them playing on the other side line of scrimmage. And so sometimes you're going to get that type of action. This looks like a gap run. Neal makes a tackle at the end there, but it's a good gain. Take a look at the run here. Tight ends coming across the formation, and rather than the thing the Bills do, rather than bump these guys out and kind of exchange their positions. Okay, now Jordan becomes the nose tackle and he becomes a 3 tech. What they do is they bump the linebackers. All right, so they bump these guys instead and have them fill those gaps. But at times that can be detrimental, because then it leaves them susceptible to blocks. They're not as uncovered. On this one, you see Milano hop downhill, take on that puller. The lineman right there, or tight end, I believe, washes Murphy down, and the angle that the right tackle got on Edmonds was perfect because of that shift, that bump by the linebackers, and you see him get covered up right there, and then a good lane for Barkley right there. It's a good gain. Well, good job by Neal on the backside defender with the hustle, making the tackle. We are in the fourth quarter. I believe that this is a touchdown drive by them too, I think. So another play action fake, speed out from that tight alignment. They're going to give him that all day. I mean, there's really nothing they can do here based on this alignment. I mean, you got the safety down, and he's probably, I imagine he's a flats player, but there's just no way with this run fake right there. It's going to hold him. It's going to hold him, and rightfully so. And that leaves, with the off coverage to the bottom, that leaves that speed out wide open. Now we've seen that 3 or 4 times now. Second and 4, 12 personnel. Looks like another duo call and another strong tackle by White. Again, learning from his mistakes. But good job overall by the entire defense and everyone doing their job on this play. On the snap, you see Oliver. This is Milano. I think this is Johnson. Here's Poyer. Exhausting the running back's reads. Make him get to his last read. Do not give him the easy run right up the middle. Now, Barkley has to cut it out wide. Looks like this tight end right here did a decent job against Johnson, but because Milano is right there, he's going to have to bounce it anyways. But Trey White comes down and makes that tackle. Sets up 3rd and 2. This was a really nice play. So obviously you saw on 3rd and 2, Giants were in a bunch. They bring that tight end, I believe that's Ingram, across the formation, and Kevin Johnson has him in man coverage. And they throw a slant flat combination. But good job of Wallace of getting tight right here, all right? Covering up that receiver, okay. You know, if Eli were to throw that, he's got him covered up. But it also eliminates any type of traffic in Kevin Johnson's peripheral when he's flying down to make this tackle. So he stays over the top, and then with his speed, he's able to close against Ingram. That's a really nice play. I mean, look at that twitch. As soon as he breaks and he realizes, boom, downhill, make the tackle. Forces fourth down. Man, that's such a nice play. Now, if that was Neal or Marlowe, that might be a completion. I don't know if they have that kind of explosiveness or closing speed to make that tackle. But of course, the Bills give up the first down for the next play on a slant route. Pretty much the same combination, but with the running back out of the backfield. And good job of creating separation by that receiver. Took a lick at the end too by Jordan Poyer, which I was kind of surprised they didn't call. So first down at the 6-yard line. And they run it. I think this is just an inside zone play again. And I mean, I show it again. Everyone is in their gaps. That's what you want. That's what you want. It all matters. So they got a yard on that. Back into 12 personnel. This was just a nice play by Eli. I mean, there's really nothing. I mean, that coverage is pretty good to the bottom there. Just that little change of direction. I mean, Levi does a good job of getting into this guy's pocket right there, right? He's in a trail technique, and he's right behind him. You know, you're taught to typically read the hips, but either way, he's right in position. And it looks like this receiver kind of pivots to the middle field and then pivots back out and uncovers just enough. I mean, the coverage, I mean, Levi is right there. You see the ball right there over his head. And then looks like he gets both feet in, right? Boom. That's a heck of a play by him. Not much else you could do. I wouldn't. That's not bad coverage by Eli. It's not bad coverage by Levi by any means there. Nice play action pass. I mean, you got really good blocking. Got enough time to make that throw. So 28-14, 5:53 left. It's not how you want to start a drive. First and 5. I think they got Oliver on that play, I think. So, 2nd and 5, you see the safety is down low, but he rotates over the top, and I mean, this appears to be quarters coverage across the top. The offense, it looks like they're sending out a post, obviously. This guy's running out. I think this guy, was he in the backfield there? Go back. Yeah, he's out of the backfield. So, good job of matching. Now watch how these 4 defenders match up versus these 3. Watch the spacing on this concept, on this defensive coverage. See that running back going to the flat. So what happens? It's a push call. He pushes out, takes inside leverage on this guy that's running the out. So right there. All right, so now they're covered up. You pattern matched pretty well. He's got inside leverage. Now as this guy breaks out, you have Trey White, eyes in the backfield in a bail technique. He has to jump this out route right here. So you're forcing a quarterback to move on in his reads, depending on if he's reading high to low. So White's gonna peel off on the out, and with this guy going to the post, this safety now has to take it, and I think it's Poyer. He does kind of get beat over the top. He's kind of even with the guy, which is never good, but this is just another example of how the Bills work so well together. Their communication on these push, concepts, these push coverages, how they force, not just in the run game, a running back exhausting his reads, but you're forcing a quarterback to continue to work through his reads. Okay, depending if Eli was working low to high on this one, this guy's taken away by Milano. Okay, let me go to my second level. Well, this guy's taken away by Edmonds. Okay, yeah, but he's running it out. Okay, well then he should be open. No. That's exhausted because Trey White's going to jump that. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to go deep, which is probably my last option, being that it's Eli Manning and his arm's not quite there. Okay, well, we'll take that. We'll, make him work low to high and then complete a really nice ball one-on-one with a pretty decent safety in Jordan Poyer. Another four-man rush. You can see, this is, you talk about throwing mechanics. I mean, you can tell Eli, this is not a throw he wants to make. Okay, he hits it back. Now he's pretty much flat-footed, right? Look at his shoulder. You always want your shoulders, level. Watch him load this up. I mean, he's loading it off that back foot. I mean, that's not going to be an accurate ball. I mean, it's like he's throwing a Hail Mary. Look at it. That's exactly what the Bills wanted. Let's be honest. That's exactly what they wanted. If Eli is going to beat you and beat you deep, hey, all power to him, right? That's a draw play. This is a nice setup. So on the snap, what's going to happen is you're going to get a fold. Fold by the right guard. He's going to pull through and pick up Milano. It's a nice way of attacking this B gap bubble that we always talk about. I mean, look at this. Actually, it's even wider. Look at that. They get that fold. Center gets on Milano, and Barkley just gets up inside. Nice little fold block. So you got Johnson to the bottom in the slot, but they drop out into what appears to be cover 2. And there's really no one open here. Obviously, corner has the out route here. And this little curl is obviously covered up with that hook to curl wall defender right there. So Eli's forced to move on and throws it incomplete to the top of the screen. So I'm not too sure why Eli had issues with this play, because on the snap, where are his eyes? Okay, they're dropping into cover 2, right? It's pretty obvious it's cover 2. I mean, even the corners, look at their eyes, look at their posture. But for some reason, versus cover 2, Eli is looking to the bottom. He's trying to throw this combination when really he should be working the combination to the top. And why? Because watch how this breaks out. So you have this little out route here. He's squatting. You have an out route here, I believe, and then you have the honey hole shot right there. Now what he should be doing is probably throwing it to this guy right here. So if Eli had his eyes in the proper spot, he probably would have hit this play in rhythm, and they would have had a possible completion probably right around here. So I don't know why Eli was confused here, but he ends up having to extend the play, and then you just got, a mess to the top of the screen into the boundary, and the ball goes incomplete. Yeah, I'm not sure what he was seeing here. There's no need to hang out looking on the left-hand side when you have only 2 guys and it's cover 2. Second down and 10. Here's another play showing 2 high, dropping down into cover 3. And all Eli is trying to do is just dump it down to this guy right here. But look at Harrison. I think he's the one that gets a piece of it right there. Gets a piece of the ball. And that's the backup running back, Gallman there. Good read by Harrison, man, to be honest. Obviously got a couple offensive linemen right there, but it looks like he reads the quarterback, kind of swings to the middle here. Right there. Gets right in the pass lane. And, to his credit, I mean, of course, he's playing run to pass first, but he sees this running back leaking out, right? I mean, look at him. Let me go real slow. Like right there, he sees him leaking out and works to the middle, gets his hands on the ball. Nice play. Again, he had a really good game. Another cover 3 call, and Edmonds almost picks this one off. I'm not sure if you guys saw me post this on Twitter, but I'm going to show you what they're showing Eli on this play. So I'll let it roll. Obviously 2 safeties deep, right? But watch as the ball snapped. What is Hyde doing? Look at his body posture. Obviously, Poyer's squared up. He's in, probably showing, a cover 2 look right there. But even Hyde, he's kind of pointing like he's going to drop, right? I mean, look at these corners. They're kind of in a bail technique, showing almost like cover 2, right? I mean, even the spacing of the second level guys. Look at these guys. But on the snap, actually, after the snap, look, the ball's already snapped. Now watch Hyde to the top of the screen. Look at him. He drops in. So they rotate the cover 3. So your deep third, deep middle, deep third, flats defender. He's the hole player, that hook to curl defender, flats player. Okay, so they drop into cover 3. So they disguise it perfectly, even after the ball was snapped. So Eli is immediately thinking, this is cover 2. And if it were cover 2, he would probably have, this linebacker would be going to the middle, and there would be an opening probably right around here for this little slant, right? Easy pitch and catch. But because it's cover 3 and you have Edmonds getting to that hash, he's right in that passing lane and he jumps it. And it should have been intercepted. So really good disguise by Hyde. Even after the ball snap, slow plays, it then comes downhill. It's cover 3 and it's almost intercepted. It's so much fun to watch. I mean, that is just so much fun to watch. You just wish Edmonds had hands so he could pick this off. I mean, just a good read too, man. You see him, he expands. He sees the delivery coming, plants, gets downhill. That's a house call if he catches that. Just a fun play altogether. Kevin Johnson to the bottom of the screen, 2x2 set. And it looks like they're trying to get an out route to the bottom. I mean, that's a far throw for Eli. It's pretty good coverage, though. Just man coverage. Not much to that play. Let's see what the protection looked like. Not too bad. I mean, they kept him in the pocket. He's got to throw it pretty much flat-footed. And again, he's throwing from the far hash. A pretty good distance. Probably, what, the 35-yard line, I'd say. All the way outside the numbers. I mean, that's a far throw. Not Eli's game. So this appears to be the next drive. And the Bills, what do you know? Drop into cover 3. I mean, look at this play. They almost come back to it, right? It's the same play. I mean, probably hoping to get that look again with a better throw, right? But they're able to expand. It looks like instead of just running the out, he bends it up the sideline here, which is a really nice adjustment. And I think they do complete this one. And I don't know if that was a called play, you know, like an out and up. I don't think it was. I think that was just an adjustment. And on that play, what's typically supposed to happen is, see, Johnson should be hinging right here. And he's not. He's kind of hinging. So he's facing the field, right? So he's looking this way. But what he's supposed to be doing is continue to gain depth here. Hinging back, but keeping his eye, so he can keep eyes on both of these guys. But either way, even if that were the case, I think that's really gonna be tough for him to defend. You would also like to see, and it happens late, but as you know, this spacing occurs, you'd like to see Edmonds kind of help out and expand here so that this guy right here doesn't get that leverage. It would help Johnson here, but either way, good play by the Giants. Good play by Ingram of extending that route. And I mean, Eli extending the play and throwing it up. I mean, barely makes it there too. Good hustle by Johnson though, and getting back into play. 4 minutes and running, 4:22. Looks like another 2x2 set. Tampa 2, looks like Tampa 2 coverage. They're just running a shallow cross, so you're going to have, it's a middle of the field read. You're having a crosser here. You're having that hunt route right here. And, you know, they're probably reading this linebacker right here. And he expands. Right there, he holds. So, I mean, you're going to have it open right around here. Typically, you want to have that throw land right even with the tackle. He's able to get it right there, but the closing speed of Milano totally minimizes that play to what, 2 or 3 yards. I mean, look at how quickly he gets downhill and then makes the tackle. He's quick. And watch the athleticism. Again, you know, the field, the ball's on the right hash. So in Tampa 2, your Mike linebacker, your middle player there, he's typically opening either to the formation, to the strength of formation. So if there's three receivers off the left-hand side here, he would open to that. Or he's just opening to the field. He does that, and as that receiver comes across the middle, he rotates back. And then this is, you know, again, it's one of those plays where these two guys are communicating. Here comes a crosser. You can see right there, Milano kind of pointing out that curl route and how it's becoming Edmonds' responsibility. And here comes Milano downhill making the tackle. Another 2x2 set, and looks like they get a piece of the ball here. Let's try to take a look at what coverage they're playing. Looks to be quarters again. So you're seeing on the snap, you got this quick flat route right here, and this guy's getting vertical. And once he gets to linebacker level, right around here, with the number 2 going to the flat here, what the safety is taught to do is just help out on number 1. So you see that happen right there. So they have that deep route kind of covered there, and they're trying to take advantage of Milano here. So right here and then up the sideline. I think that's where they were probably going, because that becomes man coverage for Milano, as number 1 goes deep and takes that safety with him. There's no one covering number 2, the flats. That has to be Milano's job. He does, but it looks like it was batted down, or at least deflected from behind. Bill's loading up right here. You see everyone's slanting over here. One-on-one. Shaq Lawson to the left. But it's really just to set up a game, but that's where looks like they tried running a similar play earlier. Here's Alexander. This time I think the looper is going to be Harrison, but Harrison gets knocked down. But a good job of Johnson off the edge here. Let's take a look now. So you got a little interior game. You got one-on-one on the edge right here between the defensive ends and the tackles, and really a nice play by, this is one of those wide 9 looks that you're kind of talking about earlier. He transitions to power, and he gets movement. Look at that. Pushes the pocket, pushes the guy right into Eli Manning. So you like some of what you see, speed to power from Johnson. I thought in preseason he had a larger arsenal, I think, in pass rush moves. I don't think we got to see him too often when he played, but I think it's something we will see more of. He's going to be battling this year. I don't think he's necessarily a lock. 3rd and 8. Another 2x2 set. Bill's showing 2 deep, and this appears to be another version of their quarters coverage, and Eli tries throwing it deep, and I think this is the one where Jordan said, I can't believe he threw it deep here. So they have a double post concept, 3-man route. So condensed set, or a nasty alignment from the receiver to the top. He's running across the middle. You're having this guy pull a deep cross, and then he's probably going to the post as well. Let it play. So with this quarters concept, you see the safety right here. I think that's Hyde. He's in tune to it. He understands that this receiver's coming across the middle. He's got that covered. What Eli was expecting, he was expecting Poyer to jump this first crosser and then to get that post behind him. Obviously, the corner is going to be on the back hip of that guy, because again, he's just bailing to his deep quarters, right? And typically he would be playing the low end of this hip right here. He's going to leverage it just like this, but he's not going to worry about the middle of the field. He's going to be worried about his deep quarters, right? So they were expecting to catch Poyer here, and Poyer initially opens up to the middle, initially opens up to that deep crosser, but then he flips his hips, and that baseball background comes into play here. He's a deep center fielder on this play, and he's able to track the ball. This is, I said it in his highlight video, this is wide receiver stuff right here. His ability to flip his hips a few times, track the ball on a deep ball was just remarkable. So you could tell the Giants did try to attack the Bills' quarters coverage, and typically how you want to attack quarters coverage, it's with that combination, but you don't want a deep crosser. You don't want this receiver, the number 2, you don't want him running a deep crosser. Usually it's a deep in route, a deep dig, and then the post is coming in behind it, right? Why is that? Because if it's a dig route, what's going to happen is the slot player off the left here is going to pass him on to the safety. That safety's got to dive on that dig, and then you're going to have that post behind him, behind that safety, and over the top of that corner, on a Mills concept is what they call it. So it's like an in route and then a post behind it. But this one was just a double post, a deep crosser and post route, and Jordan Poyer does a good job of tracking it. And man, such a good catch. Hell of a catch there. So 27 seconds left, and that's pretty much it, guys. It's a really good defensive game by the Bills here. And it looks like they almost run like a similar route. Look, you got flat route, you got an out route, and then you got like a deep corner there. So you could tell their offensive game plan, the routes that they had tagged deep, they just weren't going to beat the Bills offense consistently. The stuff underneath, the Bills gave him that. The Bills gave him that stuff underneath, and then they just rally and tackle it. Eventually, you're going to run out of plays. You're going to run out of those slant flats and those quick hitters. You can't consistently drive down the field against the Bills defense and win that way against them. Especially if the run is eventually kind of minimized, which it was after that first half or so. I thought they did a much better job of sending run blitzes and staying in their gaps and making tackles. So, any questions, guys, before we wrap this up? Just a little last second film session. Again, it's something we're going to be doing a lot more of. With this quarantine stuff going on still, and it's something I want to do more of for the draft throughout the season. So right away, getting guys, in the film room with me to break down some film for next year's draft, and hopefully I can get some new blood in the film room with us for these Bills sessions. So with that said, I'm gonna wrap it up and take off and enjoy the rest of this day, guys. Thanks for joining me.